When it comes to Knives Out Glass Onion, I'm going to make 2 strong recommendations to improve your experience. The first is that you really should try to see it in theaters the 1 week it's in theaters, during the busy Thanksgiving holiday week. I know, but that's the only way Netflix could get it a decent release. Even still, it's not as wide as most movies, but it's wider than any other Netflix film has been able to achieve. But if you can get in there, just that 1 week it's in theaters, I think you'll be rewarded. And then 2, go in as blind as possible. I'd only seen the very first trailer, and I knew very little about the film going in. In fact, as you might recall from my 2019 review, I was one of the only critics to dislike the first Knives Out, feeling it wasn't actually a murder mystery at all, the old bait and switch, but instead a very big, overbearing political lecture disguised as a murder mystery. Oh, you got us all, Rian Johnson. But the mise-en-scène was to die for. Pumpkin Spice the movie. It was the perfect film for the holiday season. I went to see it again for Thanksgiving weekend, and I have to tell you, it was atmospheric. So that, along with Chris Evans' now iconic sweater, is why I think the first film did so well at the box office. And it certainly has its fans, who I'm sure are furiously defending it right now. But I did not like it. So as I sat down at Netflix's Paris Theater, the landmark movie house they'd purchased to play their films to an often empty auditorium, it's kind of sad what's happened to that theater, but they do that so they'll qualify for award season. These are the thoughts that were running through my head. Although I have to say there was a pretty good turnout for this press screening. They had 3 in a row, Monday and Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning when I went. So it's a hot ticket. It's a hot ticket. But this is what I was thinking. Set in Greece, this sequel, why the heck is it coming out during the holiday season? I mean, I know the last one did, but as I said, that was Pumpkin Spice the movie. Shouldn't this one be releasing in summer? Although summer-themed movies can do quite well during the holiday season, which is why I think they did this. And spoiler alert, I really like this movie, so maybe it'll pay off. Also, it's just a great crowd pleaser, so that's good for the holiday season when people are looking for something to watch again with family. But then, pre-movie, I was very skeptical, and I also thought to myself, let's see if it was really worth the $469 million that Netflix forked over to steal this franchise away from Lionsgate, guaranteeing 2 more movies, they have 1 more for sure coming, and a pretty hefty payday for Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig, who created the Knives Out franchise together. So I was like, no way it was worth that kind of expense. But I have to say, after having seen the movie, I do think it was worth that money. I mean, maybe not if it doesn't perform well. I mean, I think that Netflix, if Knives Out doesn't perform as well the second time out, it's because of Netflix. It's because of people preferring to watch Netflix movies on the service, having a hard time getting people. Like I told somebody after I watched the screening, I was telling a friend, I was like, you gotta go see this in theaters. And they were like, isn't this gonna be on Netflix? And I was like, every movie eventually goes to digital. This is worth seeing in theaters. And they were like, I don't know. I'm pretty busy Thanksgiving week. And I was like, oh man, I'm worried about this movie. And then also Netflix, of course, has gotten to a point where they get Oscar noms, awards noms, but not a lot of wins. So, because there's still a little bit of a prejudice against them in the industry. So, I don't know. But I mean, it wouldn't be Rian Johnson's fault because he delivers. Oh boy, does he deliver as the writer-director of this movie. And by going in almost completely blind, I was blown away, not just by the mystery, and I'm pretty good at guessing twists and turns. And I have to say, this movie still managed to surprise me again and again and again. I couldn't figure out who did it. It was fantastic. And when they did reveal who it was, I wasn't like, no one could have gotten that. Instead, I was like, well done. Bravo, everybody. And speaking of surprises, I was also shocked at how funny this movie is. Absolutely hilarious. My audience was rolling with laughter, and I was right there with them. So funny. And the pop culture references alone are incredibly timely, and some of them you can't believe that they got. I wonder if they got permission or if they're using the parody law, but it was fantastic. And also, not very mean-spirited, so that I think was great. You know, you were like, who would mind this reference? It's hilarious. I hope nobody spoils the references for you. They were great. Now, it's hard for comedies to be taken seriously during award season. Netflix is like, it's not all us. Also, it's tough for comedies. And Knives Out, even though some of you, again, really loved that movie, and it was a little bit of a sensation when it came out, it was only nominated for one Oscar for Rian Johnson for Best Original Screenplay, and it did not win. It got several major Golden Globe nominations, big ones, but the Golden Globes have historically loved lighter movies, and they have 2 categories to fill over there. They're like, somebody's got to be in comedy and musical. But yet these days, the Golden Globes is still, rightfully so, persona non grata, so that's not going to help Knives Out, Glass Onion. But I bet it gets a lot of nominations from Golden Globes. However, this time, once again, Knives Out has a very strong message, but this one is much better woven into the murder mystery, so it seems organic, and it works. It works. It's the engine that drives the murder mystery, in fact. And it's so timely and compelling, I think that it should help Glass Onion's awards chances. I mean, in many ways, Edward Norton is clearly doing a spoof of today's tech titans. A brilliant spoof. Oh, I loved it. Glass Onion is about celebrity, social media, and the 1%. And even more so, as someone pointed out to me who I was talking to after the movie, which made me appreciate the movie even more. It's also about how so many people will just let evil have a pass if it helps them, if it helps that person. And maybe even help that evil along if, again, they will benefit. And I think that's very timely. And while the original Knives Out skewed pretty blue state, and so did Don't Look Up, and both those movies, particularly Don't Look Up, I think were attacked for it, Glass Onion is more of a Rorschach test, or to borrow from the movie itself, a Mona Lisa. And that's that you see what you want to see. And that's what's going on also in society today. It's brilliant. It's layers upon layers of commentary. And when you hear what a Glass Onion stands for, I also thought that was brilliant. I don't want to ruin it. I was like, wow. This is amazing. The dialogue here, definitely going to get screenplay nominations, and I feel should win. I mean, it was really well written. The whole movie's great, but wow, is it well written. I mean, this is like a gift to actors. They're like, what dialogue do I get to deliver? Oh boy. Another hurdle for Glass Onion during awards season, as I said, is that it's a Netflix movie, right? But hopefully Apple TV's historic Best Picture win last year for Coda might help. And also, that Glass Onion is so cinematic, which is why I recommend that you try to see it in theaters if you can. The production design, the costumes, the cinematography, even the camera movements are incredible. This house, this private island, oh my goodness. All the glamour that audiences have loved from Hollywood since Hollywood began. And you often feel like you're watching a James Bond murder mystery. And part of the reason you feel that way is that, of course, James Bond himself is here, Mr. Daniel Craig, who was good in Knives Out, but here, he's on fire. Because, as I said, he and Johnson dreamed up this franchise together, and now they know they have a successful formula. So they not only put the pedal to the metal, but are much more relaxed and sure of themselves. Oh, it's a real treat. Craig's Benoit Blanc is so good here, so elevated as a caricature, yet still also a brilliant detective, and hilariously so. Again, they're having much more fun with it here. He's approaching Columbo levels of becoming a pop culture icon. I'm like, wow, Benoit Blanc is amazing. Glass Onion also establishes Blanc as gay. It's very subtle, in my opinion, more subtle than I would have liked. You'll have to decide for yourself. But it's a great reveal who's playing Blanc's partner that I will not spoil. Oh, it was just set me to cloud 9. And it's such a great choice. I'd love to see more of Blanc and his partner in Knives Out 3 that, again, Netflix is committed to making. I mean, with this actor, how could you not? What a comedic and stylish power couple. I was like, wow. As for the rest of the cast, everyone brings their A game, with standouts being Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, who does her mother Goldie Hawn proud with a fantastic comedic performance. I've never seen Kate Hudson so funny. I have seen her brother Oliver Hudson be just as funny on that fantastic sitcom that he was on. Oh, that was a comedic gem. He's very funny too. But I've never seen Kate Hudson this funny. She was amazing. I could see her getting a Best Supporting Actress nomination for her work here. Dave Bautista still cannot act, but when he's used well, as he is here, he does bring a distinct and positive energy to a project. So I liked him here, actually. Han and Odom Jr. are likable as always, but they have very little to do. Same as Henwick. I loved Henwick. She sure pops, boy. Poor Jessica Henwick, always the bridesmaid. She's not even a bridesmaid here. She's like an audience member in the wedding. And then, of course, there's Janelle Monae, who has been getting a lot of attention and rave reviews for her work here. As many of you know, I'm a big fan of Janelle Monae, and I felt she should have gotten more out of what was supposed to be her breakout role back in Hidden Figures. But I have to say, she isn't a skilled enough actress to pull off the role that Johnson has written for her here. The role is so good that it does most of the work for her. And Monae is certainly game. But a better actress could have really done something special here. Not to be too hard on Monae, she's certainly very likable in the film and pops on camera. She looks great. She not only looks great, but she has an inner charm and personality and warmth that comes out. But I just don't think her performance is good enough for any nominations, and certainly not for any wins. Instead of elevating Monae, this role, in my opinion, points out her limitations as an actress, which is too bad, because in Hidden Figures, where she was perfectly cast, she came across as a powerhouse. To his credit, though, this is the second time that Johnson has put an actress of color front and center in a Knives Out mystery, and a complex, compelling role in a thriller. And here, Monae's race isn't even a major factor in her character. It was for Ana de Armas. Now, this is unfortunately still a rare opportunity for actresses of color, even in Hollywood today, to get an opportunity like this. So other actresses of color, now that Johnson's 2 for 2, should really try to be on his radar for whatever he has planned for Knives Out 3, to complete his, hopefully, just initial trilogy. So I loved Glass Onion. It is not only a fantastic murder mystery, but it finally made me a fan of this franchise. Move over, everybody. I want to be in here too with you. And I feel it's easily one of the best movies of the year. Easily. You know, I've been talking a bit about the Best Picture race and how, you have to think about, does this movie deserve to stand amongst the Best Picture winners of all time? And I think that Knives Out Glass Onion would not seem out of place. It's just, there was a moment when Janelle Monae's character is running upstairs in front of the house at night, and I was like, wow. You'll know it when you see it. And that's when I had that thought where I was like, this is Best Picture quality. We'll see. We'll see if it actually can compete, but I really liked it. It's definitely one of my favorite films, again, as I said, of the year. So that's my non-spoiler review for Glass Onion, hitting theaters for just 1 week. Just 1 week, starting on Wednesday, before it takes a break and then reemerges on Netflix December 23rd. They're doing the Encanto release model that they did, but Encanto stayed in theaters until it hit Disney Plus. But the old Thanksgiving Christmas 1-2 punch. But Glass Onion will disappear after 1 week in theaters after Thanksgiving. All right, so share your thoughts down below. Don't spoil anything if you've managed to see it. So be careful. Just be careful. I don't want anything spoiled for you. Subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.